Buddy, welcome to your Module 7 overview video. Joining you from my storage room office in Athens. Alright, so let's get this all going. Hope you guys are having a good week. Module 7 is characteristics of creativity. So this might be, we've kind of been talking about creativity sort of throughout the several weeks, and so hopefully some of the readings that you're going to see here that you do this week in your Davis and Rim textbook are going to be really helpful for you in that and recognizing some of those behaviors in your students. Last week you looked at Affective Needs Part 2 of Gifted Students, and you chose 2 articles, and you chose one of those to do a literature review on one. I know some of you might have just read one article and that's what you did your literature review on, but if you can, at least please try and read that they're chapters, a second chapter, so you can really start to broaden or go down the little rabbit holes that you find most interesting about the affective needs. You started hopefully looking over that case study assignment and getting some initial ideas of who your student might be, who you might interview, and how you want to go about that. I'll be grading your literature reviews this week. The Google Plus forums, you guys are slowing down a little bit on there, but that's okay. I know how school can get hectic, and especially at this point of the year, you get to that point where you're like, Thanksgiving is forever away. Some of the school districts that I used to work in, they started doing a week-long fall break, like right around now to give, you get out of school a little bit later, I guess, but they found that that's a big stretch, the very beginning of the fall, so I get that. But Susan Poss has an interesting little post over there on the forum, and it was brought up by the sort of academic resistors, and she brings up some conversations about gifted girls, where she was reading something about how they tend to drop advanced math and science classes, preventing them from pursuing professional careers in the areas, which is true. Some of my dissertation work is with gifted adolescent girls in STEM, and a lot of what the college report, the College Board annual reports are finding that in a lot of our AP math and science classes, it's about equal in terms of male and female representation. But that's primarily in like your calculus, your basic physics, and some of your like environmental science. But then once you get more into the super specialized AP classes that are more like your computer science and some of the other different physics ones and some of the newer, more specialized sciences that are out there, that female representation drops significantly. And that following those kind of College Board years, when that generation of students enters college, how many of them choose to claim STEM majors, still predominantly males, and the females drops even more. So it's interesting. I think we are seeing, when I think back to teaching AP Calc and AP Stat, I had about equal boys and girls, if not sometimes a little bit more girls, but they weren't necessarily in STEM or STEM oriented for their careers. I've asked some of the girls about this and some of the research that I've worked with, and some of them have just responded of, there's still somewhat of a stigma for them, they feel, when they're in their STEM classes, which is just interesting. Maybe not so, when you look around and it's 50-50, males, females, but when they go to their special academic camps or programs or get in that specialized science class, they do feel that they are one of the only girls in there, and they have told me about some of the things that boys tell them in terms of, oh, you're a girl and you're in here, that kind of thing. Like that attitude is still there. And I think part of it sometimes when we start talking about careers is I don't think we have a lot of, or pay attention to, or highlight a lot of our strong female STEM role models for some of these girls. So Charlie Wilson has got an interesting little post on the history of definition of giftedness and how he kind of responded to that. And then you got a few folks talking about the multiple criteria approaches. Do remember that with your post that you want to make sure that you are including at least one question to your classmates to respond to. So make sure that you're contributing to the conversation and not just being like, oh, this was interesting, period, post, right? For Module 7, that's due September 24th at midnight, you've got your 2 chapters, Chapter 9 and Chapter 10 in Davis and Rim. Whoops, I didn't delete those little bullets underneath there. Ignore those. Both those 2 chapters are in creativity. And then you got your characteristics of creativity assignment. That's in partners. And I did, because it's online, I just went ahead and partnered you up. And so you already have your partner already assigned. So you can log into or look at the contact information that's up at the top of our Course One page to find their email if you want to set that up and email your partner. So I'm going to navigate quickly to the website to show you that, to show you what that assignment looks like. So here on the website under Course One, here's your contact information sheet where you can find your partner's email. If you scroll down to Module 7, our video again will be there in just a moment. But here's your creativity assignment and here's your partner list. So the partner list, there is going to be a group of 3. Susan, Heidi, and Dongwon, if you guys don't mind working together. Everybody else, you're just in partners of 2. And your characteristics assignment is linked there on the page as well. Characteristics of creativity assignment, where you're going to be reviewing some of the characteristics and descriptions of highly creative children or students or individuals and considering what some positive and negative manifestations of that behavior or characteristic is. So use your textbook as guidance, but if you can, try to think of examples that you've seen in your classroom or your experience in working with children or adolescents, or just adding something different than just copying what your textbook says. That's not what I'm going for. I'm not going for like, this is what the textbook said is positive and textbook said is negative, but if you can engage in this reflective activity and think about, well, where would this be seen as something positive in my class? Where would this be seen as something negative in my class? In terms of metaphorical thinking, how could it be a possible positive trait or a potential negative trait? And you have 2 examples for each of those. So again, you're working in partners, so I don't know how you want to split it up. Perhaps you have a big discussion and you do it all together at once, but do work together on that and make sure that you're not just regurgitating what your partner said, that you are offering something different than your partner. I do have this in here to label it as partner creativity assignment. Place it in your characteristics folder and make sure that you 2 are working from the same document. So that way when I make comments and feedback, both of you are getting those comments and feedback. I'm not having like repaste my comments and feedback on a separate document that you have pasted or dropped into your folder. So that's it. That's your only assignment. It's fairly small. Hopefully you're still focusing on your reading and you are still planning for your creativity assignment, or your case study assignment. And I want to. So reminder for your case study, you're choosing a student, collecting data, reflecting on some of the traits and things that you've learned in the class, and sharing your observations. This is due in Module 10, which is October 15th, where you're going to prepare a Google slideshow and have a 10-minute presentation that you'll probably present twice to a small group of people. Make sure you read over the case study guidelines. I'm going to just link those every week so you don't have to be like, where was that link again to where that thing was? So you should be able to easily find it. But go ahead and make a copy of it and add it to your folder when you do that. But that's it. Have a great rest of your week. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. Hope you guys get some rest. I hope if you have any family who have been affected by Hurricane Florence, I hope that they're all okay. I used to live in Charlotte, so I've got several folks and friends who are kind of dealing with the flooding there. And my husband grew up on the coast of North Carolina, so he's got some family that are not doing too good, I don't think. So hopefully I'll get cleaned up soon and everybody will be all right. Other than that, have a great rest of your week, and I will see you guys on October 15th is when I'll actually see you next time in person. Other than that, I will see you online next week.